In 2026, the U.S. government quietly blocked a $2.5 billion acquisition of a major robotics firm, not because of monopolies, but because the buyer was foreign. This isn't just about protecting a few American jobs. It's the opening shot in a high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar tech war playing out in our factories, warehouses, and even our homes. We're talking about the silent battle for control over the machines that build everything from your iPhone to your next electric car. Washington's new policy, framed as national security, is fundamentally reshaping who builds our industrial future and where that future gets built. It's creating winners and losers with balance sheets in the billions. I'll walk you through the surprising real reason for these moves, the companies scrambling to adapt, and what this means for global manufacturing. And stick with me, because the last part of this is the piece almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the part that decides whether you win or lose here. In 2026, the U.S. government is quietly rolling out a policy that will effectively ban the import of certain foreign-made robots, especially those from China. You might be thinking, robots? What's the big deal? But this isn't just about manufacturing policy. It's a strategic move that could reshape global supply chains, costing major players billions and creating unexpected opportunities. Just last year, China's industrial robot market alone hit nearly $20 billion, with domestic manufacturers like Eston Robotics and Xiaoxin leading the charge. Now, imagine a world where American factories can't use these increasingly sophisticated and often cheaper options. This isn't just about protecting American jobs. It's about national security, data integrity, and the future of automation itself. The Biden administration, much like the Trump administration before it with Huawei, is drawing a new line in the sand. But this time, it's not just phones or semiconductors. It's the very machines that build everything else. The implications are enormous, touching everything from electric vehicle production to warehouse logistics. Why would a seemingly innocuous industrial robot trigger a national panic, costing major U.S. companies billions? The answer lies in their eyes and ears. These aren't just dumb machines moving parts. Many foreign-made robots, particularly those from China, come equipped with advanced sensors, high-resolution cameras, sophisticated LiDAR, and sensitive microphones. Think about what these devices do in a typical U.S. factory or logistics hub. They map every inch of the facility, identify every piece of equipment, and record every conversation. In 2025, a report from the Center for a New American Security detailed how a common Chinese-made warehouse robot, widely adopted by U.S. logistics firms, contained an embedded imaging system capable of creating 3D models accurate to within 2 millimeters. This isn't just about intellectual property theft, it's a national security concern. The precedent is clear. Remember the furor over Huawei's network equipment or the data privacy anxieties around TikTok? The fear then was about data leaving U.S. servers. Now, the concern extends to physical hardware that can see and hear inside critical U.S. infrastructure, from factories producing sensitive components to defense facilities. The worry is that this collected data, potentially including proprietary manufacturing processes or even blueprints of secure areas, could be siphoned off, creating significant vulnerabilities for industrial espionage or even cyber warfare. The Department of Commerce's Bureau of Industry and Security, citing the unacceptable risk of sabotage, highlighted specific instances where critical infrastructure sectors, including energy and transportation, were deploying these very robots. What does this mean when your local factory floor could essentially become a spy hub? What if the quiet hum of an automated factory floor became a listening post for a foreign power? This isn't science fiction. It's the core concern driving the Biden administration's new robotics policy. We're talking about industrial arms from companies like China's Xiaoxin, which manufactures heavy-duty robots used in everything from automotive plants to electronics assembly. But the risk extends beyond traditional manufacturing. Think about the quadruped and humanoid robots from Unitree and Deep Robotics, increasingly used for inspections in sensitive facilities or patrolling warehouses. These aren't just pieces of machinery, they're data collectors. Imagine a Unitree robot mapping out an entire factory layout, precisely tracking inventory levels, recording sensitive manufacturing processes, and even observing employee movements. All this data, potentially streamed back to servers in Beijing, offers unparalleled competitive intelligence. It's a direct parallel to why DJI drones were largely restricted in the US. The concern wasn't just about their cameras, but the data they collected on critical infrastructure and defense sites. Beyond data exfiltration, there's the kill switch scenario. The fear is that a foreign adversary could, in a moment of geopolitical tension, remotely access and disable or even brick essential robots operating in critical U.S. infrastructure. Imagine an adversary rendering hundreds of industrial arms in a semiconductor plant inoperable or halting logistics in a major distribution center. The economic disruption alone could be devastating, not to mention the national security implications. This threat isn't hypothetical. It's a strategic vulnerability the government is now actively trying to close. But who really pays for this billion-dollar ban? Who truly bears the cost when the government imposes a multi-billion-dollar ban that ripples through global supply chains? U.S. manufacturers, particularly those in sectors like automotive and electronics, are staring down significant cost increases. Consider a company like Tesla, which relies heavily on automation. If they currently use, say, a Science robot arm in their Fremont factory that needs replacing by 2026, they can't just swap it out for a cheaper foreign alternative. They're now forced to buy a more expensive US or Allied-made robot, potentially costing tens of thousands more per unit. The immediate impact is higher operating costs and disruptions. Analysts at McKinsey and Company estimate that some manufacturers could see a 15 to 20% increase in their robotics expenditure initially. This isn't just about the upfront purchase price. It's about the time and capital spent retooling production lines, retraining staff, and navigating a new supply chain for parts and maintenance. The stated goal for the Biden administration is to stimulate domestic robot manufacturing and innovation, creating jobs, and protecting intellectual property. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has been clear, stating that we need to ensure a level playing field for American companies against state-subsidized foreign competitors. But this protection comes with a short-term price tag for American businesses and potentially American consumers. This isn't just a philosophical debate about fair trade. It's a strategic economic play to prevent Chinese firms from undercutting U.S. robotics companies in their own market. The hope is that domestic innovation will eventually lead to more affordable, secure options. But until then, U.S. businesses are on the hook. What this teaches us is that grand strategic moves almost always create winners and losers, often in unexpected places. The immediate pain for businesses is one thing, but what about the broader ripple effect? The unexpected victims. Why you might never see the robots of tomorrow. But what if this multi-billion-dollar ban doesn't just hit balance sheets, but also fundamentally changes the robots you might eventually own or never even see? This isn't just about factory floors. It's about the future of robotics itself and how this quiet policy shift could limit your access to groundbreaking innovation. Consider the burgeoning market for personal and educational robots. Companies like China's Unitree are leading the charge with products like their Go 2 quadruped robot, which costs a fraction of what a similar US-made model would. Without access to these more affordable, innovative options, the broader consumer market for advanced robotics could shrink significantly. This ban could mean fewer choices, higher prices, and slower adoption of useful robots in homes and schools. The impact isn't just on finished products. Even U.S. companies might find their innovation stifled. Imagine a Boston Dynamics, known for their incredible Spot robot, needing a highly specialized sensor or actuator that's only manufactured by a company now on the restricted list. This isn't theoretical. Critical components, especially in high-precision robotics, are often globalized. Suddenly, U.S. firms might have to re-engineer, source inferior alternatives, or simply halt development, leading to a fragmented global market with incompatible standards. This isn't just slowing progress. It's creating two distinct robotics ecosystems. Beyond the immediate market, there's the unseen impact on research and development. Robotics thrives on open collaboration and the free exchange of ideas and technologies. When researchers can't access diverse hardware or even academic partnerships due to national security concerns, the pace of discovery slows for everyone. This shift also brings ethical AI and data privacy to the forefront. As concerns about what data robots collect and where it goes intensify, all robotics companies, foreign and domestic, will face pressure to bake in higher privacy standards, inevitably leading to higher development costs that get passed on to consumers. But what if this isn't just about security, but a much larger, more ambitious plan by one global power to control the future of automation itself? The true master plan behind these bans isn't just about security. It's a high-stakes gamble to rewrite the global rules of robotics for the next half-century. The Biden administration's 2026 ban on specific Chinese-made industrial robots is not merely a defensive maneuver against potential espionage. It's a calculated, aggressive play to establish the U.S. and its allies as the undisputed architects of future global AI and robotics standards. This isn't about the immediate threat from a single Science arm, but about shaping the geopolitical landscape for decades, ensuring Western control over the foundational technologies that will power everything from smart cities to autonomous warfare. We're seeing a coordinated international effort here. The European Union, for instance, has similar considerations underway, signaling a broader Western strategy to decouple critical tech sectors from China. The real prize isn't just the robot hardware, but the underlying AI algorithms, the vast data networks these systems will generate, and crucially, the ethical frameworks that will govern future autonomous systems. Think of it as a modern-day browser war, but instead of Netscape versus Internet Explorer, it's a battle for the very operating system of our automated world. This isn't merely a tech war. It's a cold war for AI and robotics supremacy. The 2026 ban is an irreversible step in securing global technological leadership for the U.S. and its allies, betting that by blocking China's access to critical markets now, they can stunt its long-term development. This is the payoff, the revelation you've stayed for. The quiet hum of a factory robot today could be the key to who controls the global AI narrative tomorrow. So, what this 2026 robot ban ultimately reveals isn't just a concern for national security, but a much larger geopolitical chess match. It's a proactive, strategic play by the U.S. to dictate the foundational terms of AI and robotics for decades to come, shaping who builds, who owns, and who profits from the core technologies of our future. This isn't a fight over market share. It's a battle for the blueprint of the next industrial revolution, with profound implications for global trade, innovation, and the distribution of power. Now, I'm curious, given the scale of this technological decoupling, where do you think the next major battleground for industrial dominance will emerge? Let me know in the comments below. If you want more deep dives into the quiet policy shifts that are redefining global tech, hit that subscribe button. And if you're looking to understand how these global power plays impact the everyday tech we use, check out my breakdown of the semiconductor supply chain battle right here.